Okay, the reason I'm recording the sessions is obviously if I'm not here, then you don't get the input, and also you're not going to be able to write down everything I say. It's pretty much impossible. So you can watch the video again, you can pause, you can rewind, you can write comments on it, and I do encourage you to actually write comments on the YouTube clip, because then I know if you can write a comment, can't you, on a minute, and I can then respond to that comment. So that's quite helpful for me and hopefully quite helpful for you. Anyway, I'm teaching you for 3 units this semester. Business events, we've had a couple of sessions, or at least one session. Marketing last week, I know I wasn't here. The screencast hopefully gave you an introduction to the unit, but I understand that some of you may have struggled with the concept of the Ansoff matrix, and in particular, was actually putting the products into the matrix.
Yeah.
Was that the bit? So the concept of the matrix was okay-ish for some of you, but it was the actual putting the product into it. Okay. So we'll, like I say, don't worry about it. I don't expect that bit of work finished for tomorrow. Just do the best you can, and we'll go over it again. You can have some more time to complete it tomorrow. Anyway, the one unit we haven't started yet is business environment. Business environment is unit number 1. It's the core unit that underpins everything you learn over the 1 or 2 years. What you've got here are the 4 main learning outcomes. And what we're going to start to look at today, know the range of businesses and their ownerships. So the different types of businesses, the different reasons why they exist. So you're going to have charities versus big companies versus little businesses versus franchises versus cooperatives. You're going to have the characteristics of their types of ownership. So some companies have shares, some don't. The different types of shares, the different liabilities that each type of ownership has. That's the first learning outcome. Understand how businesses are organised, the different structures. So here we've got a principal, we've got 3 directors underneath, we've got heads of department, coordinators, lecturers. That's how we're structured. Other businesses are structured in different ways. And there are certain terms for those structures. And we're going to talk about the different advantages, disadvantages of the structures, and why each type of business would have a particular type of structure. These ones are probably, like I say, I think I said at the start, the toughest ones, when we start to look at the economy, and the impact the economy has on businesses. So I'm sure you've all heard about the credit crunch, banking crises, bailouts, problems in Greece. Hopefully you've heard at least one, if not all of those things. And they have impact, even though some of them didn't happen in the UK, they impacted upon UK businesses. If something happens in Greece, it's going to impact on us in some way.
And that, is it the domino effect it's called? If one crashes, then the next one does. Now to stop like one country from going down, to stop the rest of Europe.
Yeah. What we will look at, actually, the economy is like a domino effect. So, for example, if you've got a change in taxes, that affects consumers in one way, then businesses, which affects this and that, and one thing knocks onto another. So, if you like your visualisations, the domino is a really good way of thinking about the economy. We'll also look at other external factors. So, how politics, how some legal issues, and especially how social factors impact on business. So, for example, one of the big things of the past, say, 5 or so years, or maybe even 10 years, is healthy eating. What must every piece of packaging have on it now?
The ingredient.
Not just the ingredients, that is right, but
Calories.
calories, what else?
Allergic.
Fat, allergic, was it?
Carbohydrate.
Don't know, I think it has fat. I know it has fat, calories,
Temperature.
salts, that's the ones. So basically it's saying exactly what you're getting when you eat this. You look back 5-10 years, that wouldn't have been there. So that's a social difference, a legal requirement that's impacted upon a business. So that gives you an example of what we're going to look at. What we're starting with today is we're starting right at the very beginning, business purposes. Why do businesses exist? So every business, more or less, will have a product or a service. What is the difference, Sam, between a product or a service, do you think?
If a product's like something you have, like this would be a product,
Yeah.
and a service is something like you don't have it, but you do it. Would it be like going to Fort Park or something? Like,
Yeah, definitely. Thought Park would be a service.
like you don't get to keep it.
You're very, very close. Can anyone kind of just build on that slightly?
It's like a haircut. It's kind of like a service, not probably. Don't buy the haircut. I mean, bank can be a haircut.
Haircut's a hard one.
Yeah, because it's not a product. It's not.
Where you can't like touch and feel and
Products at the table, and the service is like
It's like
Like,
hospital
someone
doing.
Okay, if we kind of combine all that together, we're there. Product is tangible. Okay, a product is something you can touch. Okay, a service is intangible. You cannot touch a service. You know, think of Thorpe Park. The ride, yeah, it's brilliant, but you're not paying £40. Can't take a piece of Nemesis home with you, can you? The service is the experience. You buy your car insurance, it's a service. You go to a restaurant, yeah, you get your food, but you're going for the whole experience, aren't you? You're going for the ambience, you're going for the service itself, you know, the waiter, what it looks like. So that's the difference between a product and a service. Every product or service satisfies a want or a need. Otherwise, why would we buy it? Why would we go to a restaurant? What want or need does a restaurant satisfy?
Hunger.
Maybe. Maybe.
What was the question?
What want or need does a restaurant satisfy? Hunger, yeah,
It's like entertainment.
I'd say so. So you go out on a Friday night, is it just you're going to have something to eat? Or you're going out for the whole meal, the whole kind of...
Oh, experience,
the
I think.
experience.
Yeah.
So you've got two different aspects to it there. And then you've got every business tries to satisfy a want or need. So what you've got there is the product is the loan, the want or need it satisfies is you want to be able to buy products or buy services, it's money. The business is Barclays. So the product or service is TV. Emma, what would the want or need be?
Entertainment.
Thank you, Emma. Very deep and manly voice you had. And the business would be Sony, Samsung, what have you. Product or service. So the want or need is increased knowledge or understanding. Product or service?
College course.
Yeah. College course, education. And the business?
Library.
Library college, there we go. So, just some examples here of different types of businesses. We've got quite a wide-ranging examples here. We've got Barclays Bank, we already identified, we know what want or need, we know what products they offer. Samsung, we're pretty happy with that. NHS, product or service?
Service.
What?
It's both. How is it both?
But they sell the medicine and they give patients the service.
I suppose you could argue the medicine itself, but it's the services you get in better, isn't it? So I would say it's more of a service. British Heart Foundation, product or service?
Products.
Well, that's complete.
Service.
So who said service?
Both.
So so only why is it both?
Because in VHF, for service, they're doing British aid donators and stuff. But at the same time, they're selling products like.
Do you mean in the stores type thing?
Yeah.
She
Fancy
works there,
stores?
by the way.
But is it not the whole? What are they providing though? In terms of the shops are selling products. Yeah, you're correct there. What their whole purpose is it's helping people, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's providing people with help. What's that?
Del Boys Car.
Elbows Car. Okay, product or service? Is it? What do they do?
Sell.
Just sell things, don't they? They sell different types of products. They pretty much sell whatever they can get their hands on, don't they? Pretty much. Right, what we need to now do is start to really define the different classifications of business. Some of them, I would have thought, pretty self-explanatory. If it's a local business, well, it operates within the area. So it may operate within Portsmouth or the South Coast. That'll be a local business. So your one-offs, your kind of boutique shops. National, well, it's within one country. So a chain of stores that just operates in the UK. International and global, well, it operates within different countries. Pretty happy with that, I should have thought. These definitions are slightly different. These are different sectors of industry. So we've got the voluntary sector, i.e. not-for-profit. Okay, you've got profit and not-for-profit. The voluntary sector are working to help people, the British Heart Foundation. Most people will volunteer to work for them. At the high level, you will get paid because these businesses couldn't be successful without people in marketing, without managing directors. So you can be paid for work for a charity, but in general, it's the voluntary sector, you volunteer to work for them. and as a registered charity, what benefit do you get as a registered charity from the government?
Tax credit.
Don't pay tax, exactly. Public, the public sector. Hear about the public sector on the news all the time, I should hope.
Please.
Police is one example.
NHS.
Council, NHS, emergency services. So how would we define the public sector?
They help the public.
Help the public, what was that?
What's the word?
Run by the government.
Government owned, run by the governments. Okay, it's for the public. Confusing bit is the word public makes you think it's owned by the public. No, it's for the public, owned, funded and run by the government. So that must mean that the private sector, the biggest sector, is any type of business that's owned by an individual company. So any sole trader, partnership, PLC or LTD that is run by a group of individuals or an individual for a profit. The operative word there being profit. So you've got profit and not-for-profit, and you've got public, private and voluntary. There are some ways of defining different businesses within the economy. Okay? With me so far? Right. Pick on Holly. Shouldn't shake your head. Shouldn't shake your head, Holly. Samsung. Is that a local, national or international company? Is international. Is it public, private or voluntary? It's public, so it's run by the government.
No, I don't know.
Well, who is it run by?
That company.
So it must be.
Yeah, what you said.
Was he? Well, now you tell me what you think.
I don't know. What was the option?
Public, private or voluntary?
Private.
Private. Why is it private then?
Because it's their own company.
It's their own company. Yeah. Okay. Poundlands. Berthan.
It's private.
It's private. And is it local, national or international?
National.
Is it national or is it local?
No, they have it like
They have loads of
they have
them.
Is it local? Is it national? Okay, I thought it was just a kind of.
No,
it's like
Everywhere.
Okay, fair enough. Highbury College.
Local.
Deeper. Local, national, international. Local. It's a tough one, this one. It's a bit of a trick one, really. Because it is a local business, but we have international customers. But in terms of the definition, you would class it as local, yes. Public, private or voluntary? Again, this is a tough one. It's on the boundary. Because all our funding, or a lot of our funding comes from the government, but we are run like a business. So it's a little bit kind of awkward. British Heart Foundation, Moses. Local, national, international.
National.
National.
Yeah.
So just in the UK.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's what I think.
It is pretty.
But it just helps people in the UK.
So it's only based in the UK, isn't it?
What do you think?
Well, it's a charity shop, so obviously they help other countries and that. That's the reason why they're there, so that they can
I was just making sure. It's national, isn't it?
It is national.
Yeah, I was just seeing if you were sure.
Yeah.
Just seeing if you were sure. Public, private or voluntary?
Voluntary.
Voluntary, yeah, exactly. Right, so we've got the idea of local, national, international. We've got the idea of public, private and voluntary. We now need to look at the three main sectors within the economy. This is where it can get a little bit confusing because public, private and voluntary are called sectors, and these are also, nice and helpfully, are called sectors. So you've got your primary sector, your secondary sector and your tertiary sector. What this talks about is the distance travelled of raw materials from source. So the further down the line you get, the further the raw materials get from the source. What I mean by that is in the primary sector, you are literally taking from the earth. You are extracting raw materials. So you could be a fisherman, a logger. You could be extracting iron ore. You could be extracting any type of mineral. It's literally taking the materials from the ground. So oil companies, for example. Secondary sector, take the materials from the primary sector and build them into something. So furniture manufacturers, car manufacturers, computing manufacturers, they're building something from the raw materials. Tertiary sector deal directly with the public. They are selling the furniture, selling the cars, selling the computers, selling whatever. You will find always the service sector. What is interesting about the service sector is they can be classed as being in all three, because there's no raw material in the service, is there? The service is consumed at the point. You can't kind of take away a service and kind of carry it home with you. So at Thorpe Park, you consume the experience at Thorpe Park. You can keep the memories, you can keep your soft toy that you want or whatever, but you can't actually take the experience and actually tangibly hold it with you. So remember, primary, extracting raw materials; secondary, building them; tertiary, actually selling them to the public. Now you will see that some businesses can be all three. And I'll give you an example, or even a couple. So what do you think of business? Maybe there could be two.
Oil manufacturers be all three, like petrol companies.
Yeah. Think of BP. They get the oil, and you've got BP petrol stations. Yeah. You can argue actually they haven't really got
Don't
it.
it need to be reformed though?
Well they refine it themselves, don't they? That would be the refining bit. Would be the secondary part, wouldn't it? That would be the drilling, refining, petrol station. Yeah. Right. On the piece of paper in front of you, I'm sure you've all got in front of you. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 businesses. Just tell me whether they are primary, secondary, or tertiary. You've got a local shop, logging company, car manufacturer, cigarette manufacturer, IKEA, fisherman. So are they primary, secondary, or tertiary?
Can you name them?
So,
What are you like? Can you put names on them?
well, can I name them? Yeah, but that's a local shop, the logging company, car manufacturer, cigarette manufacturer, IKEA, fisherman. So each one of those fits into primary, secondary, or tertiary.
A local shop, does it say what kind of shop it is, or just normal?
Does it matter?
Sometimes.
Does it matter in terms of this? Does it matter?
What's the fourth one? Let's start with
Cigarettes. Cigarette like manufacturer.
What about a butcher?
What about a butcher?
They're like animals, isn't they? Oh no, because they don't go out and kill them, do they?
It might do.
Yeah,
If they
if
did that,
they're-
it'd be all free, wouldn't it?
I would say that your butchers could be classed as secondary and tertiary, maybe, because they'll get given a actual carcass, won't they?
Yeah.
They don't grow the animal though.
Oh no.
They get the carcass, they prepare the meat, that's your secondary, and they wrap it and sell it, that's your tertiary.
Some of them are farmers as well, because the ones local to me, they're farmers.
If they're a farmer, then maybe primary, secondary, tertiary. The last one, fisherman. Yeah, if they were a farmer, because they'd be growing the raw material, the animal.
What's that? When you say fishermen, you mean they fish it, then they sell it themselves, or they fish it if they got off somewhere?
Just fish. It's just fishermen. That's all. That's all the information you've got. All I want you to do is pick one for each one of these.
What's the second one?
Logger, cutting down trees.
I bet the primary ones make much money.
Right. Okay. It depends. We don't worry too much about the event itself yet. It's the content I need. We're going to spend a lot longer planning the event. We have to make sure we get to do it.
The primary.
Fishermen.
So remember, if it's coming directly from the earth, primary, then make it something secondary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Selling it tertiary.
I think it's secondary. Because they're like in between.
Fishermen can be all three.
Make sense? All I've told you there is they're fishing.
Tertiary, wasn't it? I mean, there would be suppliers.
Of course they can. Yeah. If they fish it, then gut it, and then have a little store in South Seafront. Feel free, wouldn't it?
But are we going just for the fishing?
All I'm saying is they're fishing, yeah.
Well done.
Why is it so?
How do you pronounce the last one? Tertiary.
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 Tertiary, yeah. Right then, Leah.
Yeah.
First one, the shop. Tertiary. How do you know it's a why is it tertiary?
It's just selling things, not actually making anything. or
Yes, yeah,
material.
exactly that. Everything in retail is tertiary. Logging company. Is it Lindsay?
Is it the secondary one, or would it be the first one?
You tell me.
Was we meant to use those?
See, I wasn't sure.
It's primary, secondary, or tertiary, each one of those.
I was sure.
Okay,
I
so
said secondary,
are
but then
they
again I thought, well, I don't know.
are they taking a
They're
raw
not
material?
making
Are they taking a raw material? Okay. Are they making anything with it?
I don't really know from where
But just go by that little picture.
they're just taking it.
So therefore it must be
That'd be the first one.
must be primary, exactly.
Yeah.
Car manufacturer J.
That would be secondary.
Why?
Because they're not selling the car and they're not like getting it out the ground, they're just putting it together so it can be sold.
Definitely.
But are they not selling it as well? They've got to give it to someone.
But
Not in the shop.
They're not
yet.
selling
they're
it
the
to the
manufacturers,
public.
aren't they? This isn't an auto shop, you know, like a showroom, is it? It's just that there.
So that
Cigarettes.
was, what was that, sorry?
Oh, secondary.
I'm a bit confused with that one then.
Because they're not getting the steel or whatever the metal from the ground.
Oh, yeah.
They're not selling it to the customer. They're just making it. Cigarettes.
Secondary.
Secondary. Yeah, definitely. IKEA. IKEA. Secondary. Really?
What?
No, tertiary.
That's the tertiary.
Oh yeah.
Because people go on and buy it.
Yeah,
Do they deal with? What you got to think about is,
It's not
do
manufacturing.
they go? Do the customer? They deal with customers.
Yeah, they're not actually making
Then it must be tertiary. However, I think this is one of the ones that don't IKEA make their own stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
They do, don't they?
everything I do is over brand.
So it's secondary and tertiary, isn't it?
Terrible.
Secondary and tertiary, that one. So I'll go for it again. And the final one, just finally, the final one, fisherman.
Primary.
Who said secondary?
I
I had a secondary. How is it secondary?
They're not like growing the fish.
It's, well, they're not growing, they're taking it from the ground, they're taking it from the earth, guys.
You can be all three sometimes. Sometimes they sell, can't they? Andy?
Right, okay, now it's time for you guys to do some work. When I put this up there, I honestly thought Poundland was a local, just a Portsmouth thing. Think of it, forget Poundland, think of it as a pound shop then. Just, you know, the little 99p shop, Mr. Cheap, what have you. Okay? What you need to do is summarise their activities, i.e. explain what their purpose is. You need to and then identify where they operate, their size and their sector. So they're local, national, international, public, private, voluntary, and primary, secondary, or tertiary. Okay, so you'll need, there might be a couple, but you need to explain to them which ones they are and how do you know them. Okay, so like I say, what they called like Mr. Cheap or the local ones. Mr. Cheap, 99p.
Yeah, like these stores.
Just a Portsmouth kind of local cheap shop. Okay, so can we listen please? So using the internet, using your research skills, a piece of work that does what it says on the boards. If you're stuck on any questions, I'll have to go through it again.
Okay.